Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, my name is Siti Hadijah. Here I will explain about procedure, narrative, and report. Definition of procedure. A procedure is an established method of accomplishing a task, usually with steps that are performed in a predictable order. These systems are basically sequential actions that are designed to complete a task. In the business world, all company operations can be broken down into categorical process. Their progress are the building blocks for company producers. Producers don't typically change and are performed in the same order to provide standardized and consistent end result. With training and tutorial are typical method of communicating process to employees of an organization, so they can implement the procedure to achieve the company goal. Three generic structure of procedure. Number 1 is goal. Goal showing the purpose. 2. Material, telling the need materials. 3. Step 1N, describing the step to achieve the purpose. For example, in a business setting, produce should be very clear and leave little gray area to stop interpretation. The characteristic of the clear product will be fact-driven, concise and clear, introductional and relevant. Official and exquise often provide produce for action that require documentation or have negative effect. In certain action aren't performed correctly. For example, again, Jennifer is given a new employee guide that give her 12 steps on how to register a customer and input their information. They are key process she must do in specific order. Certain paperwork must be submit within strict time. Provide not submitting the document on the many cause a loss of profit for the business and loss of service to the consumer. The International Guild show her the way to properly complete the process in a produce. It gives her definite time to perform twice and doesn't leave much room for interpretation. It can be too specific because some situation will require judgment. All producers should be confined to the business objective and show the approved by official before being damaged as standard. Many issues and complaints with consumer service and business process in the misses or produce in area live. So many issues and complaints with consumer service and business process occur in the mission or producer and area left to assumption. This is may also be score of confession to an answer consumer. So definite procedure is procedure mean a group of tasks typical done is a standard order in active attacks. And next is definition of narrative. A narrative is a story. The term can be used a noun or an adjective. As a noun, narrative refers to the story being told. It is the account of event, experience, and details. It also refers to the storytelling process. As an adjective, it describes the form or style the story being told. It is the account of events, experience, and the tales. It also refers to the storytelling process. An adjective it describes the form or style of the story being told. The adjective used of the word narrative has its room in the Latin word uh, narrativus, which means suite to narration. The noun use of the word appeared in the French language in the 15th century and defined as a tell story narrative in produce. Okay, for example of narrative, if you look at the narrative when use a noun, you will find many examples. Most things written in the first noun are narrative. A novel written from the point of view of the many characters is a narrative. The ECU word entitled What I Did on My Summer Vacation was narrative, an article written by a blogger about his or her experience telling across the United States or bicycle would most likely be narrative. If you look at narrative when used as an adjective, you will find it complains just above any form written or art. There are narrative poems, narrative works of visual art, narrative easy or narrative dance. If you can if you can make something tell a story, it is narrative. Okay, next is type of narrative. Rather than there being type or narrative, narrative itself function as an adjective, transforming other things. The narrative voice or narrative style can be used to transform visually anything into a story. For example, other form of art can also be considered narrative. You can choreograph a narrative dance or paint a narrative series of the picture. The important element is that your creation tells a story. Okay, I will give another example. Other form of art can also be confined narrative. You can choreography narrative dance or paint a narrative series of picture. The important element is that your creation in your tells a story. Okay, next, the importance of using narrative. Everyone loves a story. Everyone has a story. Everyone wants to tell a story. Everyone can relate to a story. That is why it's important to use narrative. Narrative is an engaging writing style. It immediately invites your audience into your world and offers them a chance to participate in the story you are telling. Okay, they can read it, add to it, and change it. Narrative are social. They are at the heart of how we communicate as social beings. If you look for definition, description, and discussion of what narrative are, you will find many references to the narrative natural humanity of narrative. They are a part of who we are, the how we start the with other. Have you ever read an article that just brought you the tear? Maybe your tongue was dry. Maybe you feel that why above the article. There is good change. The author did not pack good use narrative and this never meant to draw you in. Okay, next is definition of report. In academic, there is some overlap between report and essay. and the two words are sometimes used interchangeably, but reports and more likely to be needed for business, scientific and technical subject and in the workplace. More likely to be needed presents argument and reasoning. Report consists a report consists of facts. As neatly, a report is a short, sharp, concise document which is written for a particular purpose and audience. It generally sets out and analyzes a situation or problem, often making recommendation for future action. It is a factual paper and needs to be clear and well-thought recommendation. For the form and content of a report and vary between organization and departments and in study between courses from tutor to tutor as well as between subjects. So it's worth finding out if there are many specific goals before you start. Okay, getting started, prior preparation and planning. Step 1. Know your brief. You will usually receive a clear brief for a report including what you are studying and for whom the report should be prepared. Step 2. Keep your brief in mind at all times. During your planning and writing, make sure that you keep your brief in mind. Who are you writing for and why are you writing? Okay, there are 6 structure report. Number 1 is the structure of a report. Like the print content, requirements for structure vary, so do check what's set out in any guidance. However, as a raw site, you will plan to include at the very last an exclusive summary, introduction, the main body of your report, and a section containing your conclusion and any recommendation. Number 2 is exclusive summary. The exclusive summary or abstract for a scientific report is a brief summary of the contents. It's worth writing these last when you know the key point to draw out. It should be no more than half a page to a page in length. Remember, the exclusive summary is designed to give busy exclusive, quickly summary of the contents of the report. Number 3 is introduction. The introduction set out what you plan to say and provide brief summary of the problem understand discussion. It should also touch briefly on your conclusion. Okay, number 4 is report main body. The main body of the report should be carefully structured in a way that leads the reader through issue. You should split it into sections using number subheading related to themes or area for concentration. For each theme, you should aim to set your quickly and constant the main issues under discussion and any area of difficulty or disagreement. It may also include experience result. Okay, and the last is conclusion and recommendation. Conclusion and recommendation. The conclusion sets out what inference you draw from information, including any experience result. It may include recommendation or there may include a sparse session. And next is a word on writing style. When writing a report, your aim should to be absolutely clear, Above all, it should be easy to read and understand, even to someone with little knowledge of the subject area. You should therefore aim for crisp, precise text using plain English and short words rather than longer with short sentences. Next is a final warning. As with an academic assessment or formal piece of writing, your work will benefit from being read over again and editing rules for sense and style. And pay particular attention to all information that you have included is relevant. Also remember to check tenses, which person you have written in the grammar and spelling. It's also worth one last check against any requirement and structure for an academic assessment. Make sure that you have to reference fully and correctly. As always, check that you have no in-depthly and deliberately plagiarism and copied any without knowledge it. Okay, I think that's all from me. I am Siti Hadijah. The last I say, Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.